Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show. Well, the pandemic made us all have to pivot almost overnight. I mean, think about it. In a single week, all of the major sports closed down, the concerts closed down, conventions closed down, and a couple of guys who know a little something about that are my guests now on the Jeff Crilley Show. Brad Mayne and Mark Herrera with the International Association of Venue Managers. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, Jeff.
So when we talk about your association, am I depicting it right? It's almost every venue you can think of.
Yeah, it's a diverse type of venues all over the world. Arenas, stadiums, convention centers, performing arts theaters, amphitheaters, fairgrounds. We have museums, any place that people gather and serve the communities. We're great economic engines that do a lot of great service within the communities that they serve.
Well, and I know you guys have a playbook for a lot of stuff, like active shooters, a fire. You have you didn't just have a playbook for the pandemic that you could just pull off at the shelf and say, I know what to do. Mark, let's talk about that.
Absolutely, Jeff. No, sir, we didn't. You want to have a plan for everything that pertains to crisis, right? And just like all of our security emergency action plans that all of our venues and our facilities have in place, we didn't have a dedicated focus to what that plan looked like from a health perspective based on the current pandemic. So we had to figure something out really quickly as an association so that we could benefit and provide the information to the entire industry so that they could start working on the recovery efforts.
So, Brad, let's talk about Major League Sports. I know you guys work with almost all of the sports. How can we safely reopen these parks eventually? Can we social distance and still watch the Cowboys play? How does that work?
Well, as you mentioned, we don't have a playbook, so that's being put together. But as you can imagine, it takes a lot of individuals with expertise in lines of safety, security, health, operations, et cetera, and we bring them all together. So we've got a lot of architectural firms that are the designers of these major sports facilities who have been putting together seating diagrams and what those would look like. And as you can imagine, all the different options. People purchase tickets in different numbers. So do you put four seats together and then do your social distancing and then put 2 seats together and then 4 seats together and 3 seats, et cetera. So a lot of options being created, and the bigger challenge from the seats is all of the service areas, concession stands, restrooms, concourses. How do you social distance in those areas? In some cases, restrooms have one entrance and it's the exit. So there's a lot of work that's going into these guidelines, a lot of thought being put together. And we rely very heavily on our professionals that are members. They have the expertise. They've got that broad, scope of what they're dealing with. And there's not a one-size-fits-all for each one of our venues because each one of them is designed differently. So you can imagine these individuals coming together, passion, experience. They want to be the solution. And they have certainly stepped up for us. We couldn't do it without those members who are volunteering their time, their expertise. Just amazing individuals that want to serve and want us all to get back to where we can have mass gatherings in a safe environment.
Yes. Let's talk about the sanitation and just the cleaning crews, because cleaning crews are typically not trained to clean for COVID-19. What adjustments have your members had to make?
Absolutely. So one of the things is obviously all of the adjustments we've made and the direction that we're going has been a very proactive approach through obviously Brad Mayne and our leadership. Who have supported this. But one of the things that we've done is we have really lined ourselves up well with how do we reduce the level of apprehension amongst all those that will be attending events, because that's so important. You don't know what you don't know going into these events, right? So we had to figure out not only from an apprehension perspective, but also from a liability perspective, what are we doing that's reasonable in regards to implementing certain health precautions going in. And one of the things that we did was we really aligned ourselves up with a partnership through the Global Biorisk Advisory Council. That is a division of the International Sanitation Supply Association, which is a worldwide association that was part of the Ebola crisis. Right? They were able to utilize the science and scientists to determine what that deep cleaning looks like. And with this division, and again, Jeff, they work real closely with obviously CDC, the federal government. They work with scientists to identify what that deep cleaning looks like. So through GBAC, there is a GBAC 5-star program that is an accreditation. So the venues can actually go through a 21 element process to become accredited at the end of the day. And if a venue is accredited, that means that they administratively and operationally, they fulfill the requirements of that accreditation. So what does that say at the end of the day? That says that, hey, they've done their due diligence to identify what that deep cleaning and sanitizing looks like, and it has to be measured. This is going to have to be measured so that ultimately it's identified as a best practice, and then you can surround policies and procedures around it.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a challenge for leadership everywhere. Brad, do you feel pressure as the president and CEO? Because, I mean, this is the thing that your great-grandchildren will be asking you about one day. Tell us about the pandemic. I mean, what's this been like from a leadership standpoint?
Yeah. As you said, we didn't have the playbook. We've had to create that. And there is pressure, but there's also passion. That's one thing about our industry. They're resilient. They deal with large crowds every day. In many cases, in some of the communities, when they gather, they're larger than the whole community is with the people who are in that building. We become a mini city. So all of the aspects that have to be taken into consideration, and we've got that expertise available to us, and drawn upon their experience, their background, their knowledge. We've been able to create that playbook in a very short period of time. And one of the things, and I got to give Mark credit on this, one of the things that many of the associations that are in the same space that we are have put together guidelines and put them out as quick as they could. We started at the same time they have. Some of them have released those guidelines, and they're a 70,000-foot look at what needs to be accomplished. What we're doing is we're giving them the science behind what needs to be accomplished, the data that it drives what those decisions are, why it makes sense to do what we're doing, and then getting that document into their hands. And we're close to finishing that up now. And we have shared a lot of those guidelines with some of these other associations to get them started. But the fact that we have access to, as Mark has talked about, the DHS, CDC, we also have the Infectious Disease Society of America, who's looking over our shoulder. That's the one thing that we've always decided is let's make sure we got the experts vetting the work that we're doing. Let's not put something together as operators. Let's put something together that really makes sense and really gets into the in-depth information that our members need to make sure that we're safe when we open our buildings.
Absolutely. Well, I know you guys have been social distancing and doing a lot of Zoom meetings, but when you guys do have a physical conference again, it's quite a happening, and it's one of the benefits of membership. We're going to roll a video right now.
What I think is the amazing thing about this conference is that it's a very tight-knit group of people that really know each other. This conference has a lot of history that we're starting to learn about.
I have been Venue Connect for 4 years. We met a lot of friends here, industry peers here, We exchange ideas, we share our common challenges, we learn from each other.
There are so many benefits to being a member of IAVM. I think one of the largest for me is definitely the networking and making the connections with industry colleagues. Having those relationships has been invaluable to my career. I think that being able to connect with other members and other professionals within this industry is very valuable and has led to me being successful in my everyday job.
I think that what IAVM does is bring this level of professionalism and respectability to the live entertainment industry. And I think IAVM, by having the training that we do and having the level of board service and committee service and all of that, I can't imagine what I would think of my industry if I took IAVM out.
IAVM exists to take care of our members, and it's those members that are our greatest asset. Thank you to the volunteers, to our sponsors. Couldn't have done it without you. We have inspired, we have educated, and we have advocated for, and we're going to do even bigger and better next year. Come join us in Long Beach, California.
Wow. Hey, that was nice. Okay, so what's the plan this year?
Yeah, so that brought back memories. Chicago, great attendance, 2,400 professionals coming together, over 100 hours of educational programs, networking, boot camps that hands-on, experiences, and this year we're going to be going virtual with the local advisories that are in place. Southern California was not a location in July where we would be able to go there. So we're moving to a virtual platform. We've already moved to a virtual platform in a lot of our offerings to our members. It's been working very well. And in fact, I was concerned as CEO of the association that our membership numbers would go down, and it's actually grown. Wow. Because we're more available to everybody online. And it's just a new experience, but it's worked very, very well for us.
And Jeff, if I could echo what Brad said, one of the most important things is what is going to allow our members to actually go to a virtual conference under the current umbrella where we've had an economic impact. And here's the thing, from the educational perspective, I can tell you right now that we're focusing on what we provide virtually is going to benefit the industry as we move forward towards recovery. So that's how we're focusing our education at this point. And yeah, revenue is big, but that's not our focus. Our focus is to get the entire industry back on its feet, and again, utilizing the level of expertise and the members that we currently have in place to help guide that along, because they're the experts within their environments.
So it probably has never been a more valuable time to be a member because of all the nourishment and education you're getting through the organization.
We're finding, Jeff, that even our allied members, right, all of the different technologies out there are coming out and saying we want to be a part of IAVM because we want to be able to provide that level of technology that's going to be needed as we move forward, because now from a security posture to a health posture, it's going to be a little bit different. So technologies are going to integrate into that. And they know that even through you, and the information that goes out through PR, our news, that we're casting a wide net, and that is so important. So these allied companies are coming in saying, we want to be a part of that. So to your point, yeah, those numbers have increased.
Outstanding. Well, before we put your website up, Brad, we'll give you the final word. What would you like to leave the audience with?
Well, I appreciate that. Our members are passionate about what they do. They serve the communities that their venues are located in. A lot of money is spent in the design, construction, and operation of these venues. Bringing people together is a human experience that everybody wants. I'm sure that everybody who's watching and listening to this are feeling a little out of sort. Their daily lives have been changed. They feel locked up. They're going to want to come back and get together. We're doing everything we can to make it safe. We're not creating our own policies. We're making sure we're going to the experts and saying how do we eradicate this virus in our venues to make it safe, and then of course following CDC guidelines and all the other procedures that need to be in place to make it a safe, enjoyable environment. And we're grateful to all of our volunteers, all of our members that step up. They really are servant leaders.
Outstanding. Well, you guys have been great guests, and thank you for your leadership. We'll put your website up now. IAVM.org is the website, and go on there and plug into this wonderful community. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Jeff.
Jeff.
Thanks for having us.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.